Okay, everybody, we're starting the show.
What's the name of the show?
The name of the show is Nothing But Worry,
There we go.
and I'm Lance, and this is Bonnie.
Hello.
Let me tell you something for all you young chaps out there. Most of you will suffer prostate problems as you get older.
Jesus.
And one of the results of that is difficulty in urinating. Having to urinate more frequently, having to urinate, or having trouble getting the pee started, and taking longer to pee, and also losing the ability to force the pee out like a fire hose.
You forgot the other thing.
What's the other thing?
When you get to be an older man, you become more stubborn and you refuse to go see a doctor about it all the more often while your wife says, honey, why don't you see someone about this?
Well, one of the reasons is that there's nothing they can do about it. And number two, if you start poking and prodding and looking and searching,
They're going to find something wrong.
they're going to find, oh, you have cancer. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. No, I don't want to know that. So, busy week with many, many things happening. I had jury duty. Oh, before we get to that, what about your week? How's your week been?
I think you should talk about your week. Mine's been too damn depressing.
All right, Tuesday, I had to skip work Monday night so I could go into jury duty early in the morning. And this is in Oglethorpe County, Georgia, at the courthouse. And this courthouse it was probably built,
1880s,
I think it's older than that. It's an old building. And the courthouse is upstairs, and they've blocked off the stairs. So you have to use the elevator. And the elevator can only hold 5 or 6 people at a time. And there must have been
75.
about 75 people going up there. And so it's piecemeal, taking forever. You get up there, and the seating is like old church pews, but they're on a slope. So they're very uncomfortable. And they had us all seated on to the judge's right at first. And they picked through everybody, put us into panels, I guess for easier sorting purposes. And as we got sorted into the panels, we had to move over to the other side of the courthouse, or courtroom. Anyway, when we first sat down, somebody in front of me smelled like he'd been working in a chicken house. It was this funky, earthy manure smell emanating from somebody. The guy to my right had a high school letter jacket on with class of 2022 on it. So he had to have been 20 or 21 years old. He looked mentally underdeveloped. He had a look about his face like he'd been made of animated wet dough. And he had a little Transformers toy, something like that, in his hands. And he kept opening it and closing it and moving it around like he was playing with it. Like, he couldn't occupy his mind any other way.
He left his fidget spinner at home, probably.
And so when they put us into groups, they moved us to the other side. And when we got over there, I was sitting next to this woman who weighed about 350 pounds. And everybody's getting restless. And as she got restless, she was bouncing her legs up and down. And it was the pew was creaking and moving with every movement she made. Anyway, we had to sit there for 2.5 hours while the lawyers made discussions behind the scenes trying to avoid the trial. And eventually the judge came out and said, it looks like they've done everything they can do today, so we're going to send you home. Call back later this afternoon to see if you have to come back tomorrow. And we called, and I did not have to go back. So, 2.5 hours for $20 reimbursement for my time, and it was just irritating because my sleep got all off that day, and my sleep stayed off the rest of the week. And this morning, right before I left to go home from work, a guy I work with said, "What are you going to do on your 3-day weekend?" And I said, 3-day weekend? He goes, "Yeah, Monday's President's Day." Oh my God, I forgot all about that. So, thank goodness, because I had to go out today to run some errands, and again, my sleep was off. I had to eat like a horse and to make myself go to sleep this afternoon. There's probably some other things to discuss, but let's get into what you have had to deal with this week.
Well, some positive stuff. I've made some really good food. You've been spoiled rotten. You actually got 2 pizzas this week, which is rare. We've been, last couple of months, not even having pizzas. But I made several batches of beans that were really good. I created a new recipe of tofu and black bean burritos, which you particularly enjoy. Tried to make a batch of cookies, which you were not fond of. It was chocolate chip, pecan, and salt. With flaky sea salt across the top. You're not fond of the chocolate part of it, right? Mm-hmm. And I wrote a lot this week. I can't tell you how many articles I wrote this week. It was just so much stuff. But today I had to just take some downtime. I did a design thing. And I tried to get the fuck away from the news. But when I logged in at 3 o'clock, my jaw dropped. I just could not believe the utter disaster. We are, 3 weeks in?
Close to 4 weeks.
Coming up on 4, is that what it is?
Yeah.
And it's a fucking nightmare. They fired 220,000 people. The stroke of a pen. It's beginning to hit Georgia news, exactly what's going on. Our farmers, ag's a huge thing here, and our farmers sell abroad, and they also sell through USAID. We even have production facilities here in the state that make high protein, high nutrition supplements that are given to starving children. It's literally peanut butter in a package kind of thing. And the VA hospital in Decatur, they've got people coming forward saying they were just fired outright. And the farmers are going to be badly affected by all the tariffs. Because once again, he's put on tariffs in China, against China, and China's retaliating. And the last time that happened, they had to pony up millions upon millions of dollars in subsidies for farmers when he did that in Trump 1.0. And then they announced that the Department of Energy also had cuts, and they had to declare an emergency in one area because so many people were dismissed. They were concerned about the power grid out in the West collapsing today. So they had to have emergency recall of people that had been dismissed. They have no fucking clue what they're doing.
That's what I was going to say.
No clue whatsoever. And they're just making these arbitrary cuts. They go, "Oh, you're new. You've been here a year or less. You're out the door. You have no protections. You can't even bother suing us."
They haven't.
Judges also have come out, and they're delaying. They're not enforcing. They don't have power of enforcement. And it's just a fucking nightmare. And then the Justice Department has dropped the charges against Eric Adams. And Mayor Quisling, as I now call him, is opening the doors to the prisons in New York City so that INS can come out and take people, not people who were found guilty, but this includes people who are awaiting trial, who are innocent until proven guilty. But thanks to the Lake and Riley Act, they have removed due process.
Well, they don't know what they're doing, and they haven't thought through any of this. It's just somebody whispers in Trump's ear, what about this? Oh, that's a good idea. Do it. Well, what about the ramifications? What about consequences? Well, we didn't think about that. It was just a good idea. And I was just watching on the Bulwark, what's her name, was interviewing Bill Kristol. And they talk about J.D. Vance's embarrassing and shameful remarks before the Munich Defense Conference this today.
He met with a fucking neo-Nazi party over there.
Yeah, and everybody is just thrown into confusion. And Bill Kristol was saying they're just making it up as they go. They have no idea what they're doing. And basically, they're going to have so-called peace talks about the war in Ukraine, but exclude Ukraine from talking because, you're too minor a player to be involved in the talks about your own future and your own country. We'll settle this. We're the big boys. And this whole thing's a disaster. And nothing's going to change until the American people get bitten in the ass so hard that they scream, because they don't the American people, all they know is Republican, Christian, that's all they know. That's it. Democrats, they're for gay people. Take away my gun. And I really hope, we are going, look, Trump is going to start this sovereign wealth fund thing, which is going to be nothing more than graft for billionaires to suck taxpayer dollars directly from the government into their own pockets. And I swear to God, they are going to hook this thing up to crypto, and it is going to lead to another Great Depression. Mark my words. Because the Great Depression was caused by complete lack of regulation over the stock market. And that's what they want here. Again, we're the big boys. You little peasants, you have no say in your daily lives. We'll run things for you.
Okay, sovereign wealth fund. Basically, you have to have a surplus in order to have a sovereign wealth fund. And we run a deficit. Trillions of dollars of deficit. Norway has the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world. And they have it because they have these fabulous oil reserves off the coast of Norway. And so they take that, they use it, they pay for the services that their country needs, their citizens need, then they have a surplus and they invest it. But they have regulations about the investments. Regulations that mean that whatever administration's in power, that administration can't manipulate the fund for their purposes, for personal gain or for political gain. That's not what we're going to get here. We don't even have the surplus to invest. This is just another scam of theirs. This is another one of those catchphrases they use. The tariffs this week on steel and aluminum, who are they going to affect? People who want to buy a 6-pack of beer. People who want to buy canned goods. People who want to buy automobiles. One of the major automobile company presidents came out and said, this is going to force our prices up. There's no two ways about it. We're going to suffer. We're going to lose in sales. And then they followed up a couple days later saying, we're going to have a 25% tariff starting in April on auto imports coming in across the board. Anything coming in, 25% tariff. And it's like, who the hell is going to be able to afford anything anymore? And then Trump today said, I want them to lower the lending rate. People ought to be able to have a lower percentage rate. And Jerome, what's his name, in charge of that, said that's not the way this works. He's going to get his ass fired. And the other tariffs that went in with China, China's already begun to retaliate. And now they're saying we're going to have tariffs from Europe across the board, blah, blah, blah. And Europe, the EU, is now an economic powerhouse. They're huge. They're not as big as China or we are, but they are significant.
Well, that what you were talking about, the sovereign wealth fund being based on a surplus
Yes.
and not a deficit, they're going to hand wave away the deficit by saying, well, the United States is now invested in crypto, and the crypto value is $758 quadrillion. Therefore, we automatically have no more deficit. It's magical money appearing out of the ether, and it's all going to just burn away like tissue paper in a firestorm. That's what's going to happen.
People are making money on crypto when they issue crypto because they have to pay a fee every time you cash in on some of this. You pay a small amount. Trump Organization had that new Trump coin or whatever they issued, and they made millions upon millions in fees in people purchasing these things. And that's where they made their money. But the everyday person, they're just participating in a pyramid scheme. It's an intangible asset. And it's not like something like...
You just don't understand it, Bonnie. You have to have somebody with a business degree to explain it to you. And then it'll make sense. And you'll want to put all your money into it. You
I
guarantee...
did have somebody with a business degree. It was Paul Krugman. And he's got some excellent papers about it and write-ups. And he is a Nobel Prize-winning economist and professor. And he explains exactly why crypto is a pyramid scheme. So if you're curious, try Paul Krugman. And that's the consensus of economists across the board.
Well, what else has happened this week?
Oh, God. So much has happened.
Well,
There's like 15 or 30 things a day that happen on the political scheme. Like, for example, our two Democratic senators this week voted to confirm this woman who is now the new Secretary of Agriculture. She is also the person who founded the America First group. Why the fuck would any Democrat vote for the America First?
why would any Democrat refuse to be obstructionist?
They
We're
absolutely
dealing
should
with...
at every level.
We're dealing with basically Nazis. We're dealing with the rise of a totalitarian state. And the Democrats are like, well, we've always tried to play nice, and we're going to continue to try to play
Fuck
nice
that
in the
shit.
future. And you should be obstructionist at every single... That's how the Republicans do it. Kamala Harris should be doing exactly what Trump did, which was continue to hold rallies, but no, I got beaten fair and square. I'll just retire to my simple cabin in the woods and I'll work on my memoirs. No, pick somebody to be the voice of the Democratic Party and to continually go around the country and go, he's full of shit, he's full of shit, he's full of shit.
Tim Walz has said that he's going to run for Senate. That's not enough. Tim Walz should do more than that. He should be part of that rally that goes out, that group that goes out and rallies the country and gets people behind things, because this is obscene what is going on. They are destroying the checks and balances system established under the U.S. Constitution. And we are watching our democracy dissolve.
We're this close to them saying, well, I'm sorry, the Democratic Party votes are invalid because they are traitors. What's your proof of traitors? Well, because we say they're traitors. I mean, the Trump administration has already said
Anybody who is a Palestinian
Well, no.
protester, no, they've already said that anybody who is protesting on behalf of the Palestinians and they are here in the country as a student needs to be deported.
No.
They should be reported and deported.
What I'm saying is this little Barbie doll, who's now the press secretary, she said something about
Eva Braun.
the press. There's no reason for the press to check or double check what the State Department or the White House puts out as press releases, because that is the truth and that is the news. Just print exactly what we tell you to print, and that's the end of it.
They do not allow any dissent. For example, this week they threw out one of the big groups.
The AP, the Associated
AP.
Press, because they won't go along with this Gulf of Mexico horse shit.
Yeah, meaning they won't change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of Fragile Masculinity and Small Penises, and we're not going to do anything about inflation, aka Gulf of America.
And it really, at this point, it really doesn't matter. I'm always harping on how it truly is the American voters' fault because they don't care, or they're complicit with it, or they've been brainwashed. But at this point, at this point, it doesn't matter because the American electorate is becoming increasingly irrelevant, and we are so close to the Reichstag fire, where they're going to cook up a national emergency and say, this emergency is so colossal that we have to suspend human rights, civil rights, and we're declaring martial law, and elections are on hold until we declare the emergency over with. And so it's irrelevant whether you have finally woken up to voting in your own interest or not, and voting against these evil bastards. And they're going to use AI to not only purge any dissenting opinion from the web, but they're going to know exactly who has made these dissenting opinions and come after you.
Yeah, they're going to use our voices against us. They're going to, God Almighty, Lance.
Yeah, it's coming.
George Orwell wrote 1984, and in it, the government had a thing where it was the opposition. And there was this person that was this great evil person. And they would trot him and these pictures of him out every so often to remind us of it. It's like that now. They keep bringing out the ghost of Biden. Every time something goes wrong, it's Biden and DEI. I mean, they were blaming Biden for the fucking plane crash that happened.
Trump will be in his third term, and they'll still be going, oh, well, that's not our fault that happened. It's the fault of the previous administration. They screwed things up so badly that, even Trump's almighty, divinely ordained power couldn't fix it. I'm sorry, but it's not our fault.
Yeah, that blonde Klan press secretary actually went so far as to blame the egg shortage on Biden's policy of culling thousands of chickens.
Sick chickens.
Sick chickens. Yeah. These animals had been exposed, and right now the bird flu is spiraling out of control around the world, in part because part of the surveillance of the bird flu was funded by USAID dollars going into monitoring things like bird flu around the world. And so we don't even know where it stands.
Hold on a second. I have a quote I can find. I'll be right back. Okay, I couldn't find it. I used to have a Style Council LP called, I think it has a different name in Britain, but the one I had was called My Ever-Changing Moods. And on the back of the record, the LP, there's a quote from somebody in the 1700s. It was a French philosopher or writer, but the quote was something like, one day they will create a machinery so vast that they will be able to kill people with a push of a button, with the flick of a lever. And For somebody in the 1700s to be that prescient, to be able to go, yeah, one day they'll just create an apparatus that is so far-reaching and complex that they'll be able to just destroy you, just like that. It is amazing. I'll have to look that up later and find it. But I don't know. There was some other stuff we had to talk about. Something more related to our personal doings. I went to a library book sale today. I didn't even know it was on. I went out to the Watkinsville Library to get a book, and I saw a notice up in there. The book sale's going on right now at the Civic Center. So I was like, oh God, I can't believe I missed it. It happens every February, and I missed it. So I ran out there, and most everything was picked through. But I did get some. I got some CDs, and I got a book. And when Bonnie and I first got married, we wanted a lot of books. So we would go to these library book sales, and on the last day they'd have, bag sale, old-fashioned cardboard grocery bag full of stuff for $5, and we would come home with a car trunk load full of stuff. And anyway, but now we're trying to get rid of stuff because we got too much junk. So anything fun? You said you made a lot of food this week, baked. These homemade burritos Bonnie makes are just amazing.
Yeah, I saute an onion, add in a bell pepper, and then either chop in tomatoes or put in rotels. And to save money, I've been pressure cooking black beans. But I also bake tofu cubes in the oven. And then add everything together, I sprinkle in some taco seasoning I have in a can. And I also use the Cholula Chipotle. By the way, we're a third of the way through that 64-ounce thing of Chipotle sauce, by the way. And then for you, I add on sour cream and cheese. And we have fresh cilantro. And I also chop up cilantro in the hot mix. And what else do I put on it? Spinach. And, chopped tomatoes and avocado. Bought a bag of avocados this week. That's been nice to burn through those. And then a cilantro and lime rice mix. And you gotta grill the burrito. You absolutely have to grill the outside of it. Takes about 2 minutes, but it's really very much worth it.
Oh, me.
Peter starts his new job on Monday at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a light week. The first week he's supposed to be doing 40 hours, 4 10-hour days. But this next week he goes in for orientation, and then he goes through a couple days of training. He has to go down to Piedmont College, and they do a computer-guided training course.
Piedmont College?
Yeah, I know.
What is that, and where is it?
It's being utilized by them. It's either the college across the street, which is the Southern Baptist College, and they do, being a religious school, they don't have real degrees. They have training modules and stuff there.
What church?
But Piedmont College is a Southern Baptist college.
You said across the street from the hospital?
Yeah. It used to be over at Prince Avenue Baptist, and they couldn't make the bills, so they sold that to Athens Clarke County. But they're across the street between Van Dyke's old place and Agualinda.
Okay.
Anyway, it's either there or at the hospital's training facility. We're not quite sure yet. He'll get instructions when he goes in on Monday. And then he does floor training after that. But,
Somewhere over there, it might be the place you're talking about, was one of the headquarters of Sarepta, which was some offshoot of the Southern Baptist Convention. And we used to go over there.
no, this is a purpose-built building.
Well, it was on Prince Avenue. I know that. I never could remember where the hell this place was, but and they ran the summer camp that I went to a couple times, and I can't imagine. I mean, because every time I went to summer camp, it was just for a week, but I can't imagine being gone a whole summer. I mean, these are kids whose parents do not want them around, you know.
Yes, I know.
I can't imagine.
Parents like that.
I can't imagine sending your kid off to boarding school.
Yeah.
I mean, what just a horrible existence. You know, well, bullying and hazing is part of your growing up. I'm sorry, that's just the way that it is. Oh Lord. School was bad enough. Oh me. Well.
My dad came over for a couple of minutes this week, dropped off some bread flour, another 50 pounds of bread flour. We're stocking up. We've got a couple months worth of food on reserve and just buying the fresh stuff that we need.
He carried it into the house?
No, Peter picked up both of them and brought them in.
Okay.
No. My dad's 80-something years old. He can't be doing that shit. But yet he manages to get it out of the store.
My stomach is starting to growl.
Can I make you some dinner?
I'm thinking about eating something and taking a nap, but we'll see.
I could either make you a black bean pasta or a ranch pasta.
We'll see.
Okay. It's getting really late. It's
I got a lot to
midnight.
do. I got to scan in and post all 64 pages for the new issue of my magazine.
Yeah.
And I got to do some painting. And I don't know what all else.
Did you have a good week at work?
No, I didn't. It's just
Sucked ass?
it's a mindless slog.
I hear you finally told somebody to get to work this week. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord. Hey, what happened to that chick you were working with that was going to transfer to South Carolina? Is she still there?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that because she
What's
was
her name?
Nancy. She was supposed to become eligible to go on this transfer list in November, and I think she really expected to be out of there.
Has she made full-time status?
I think because she became full time in November, I think it was, but
Oh, my God.
I don't know if she's got a set schedule or not.
I wonder if you guys are going to end up having all of your part-timers thrown out. It would crash the mail system if they do that.
They don't care. They don't care. No. It's more than they don't care. It's that they have no concept. That they don't think beyond the first step. It's we've always hated the post office. We've always wanted to privatize the post office. So snap your fingers. Now we have the power to do it, and it's done. Well, what about this and what about that? This is what's going to happen as a result. Oh, we didn't think about. I know what. We'll just sell it off.
Yeah. And that cancels all contracts.
You know. Well, you got to understand, labor unions are not a biblical concept. As a matter of fact,
It's retirement.
As a matter of fact, it's against the teachings of Jesus Christ. So therefore, these things are illegal.
Oh my God, feel this. Look at my fingernail. You feel my fingernail?
Yeah.
Feel the ridges in it?
Yeah.
That's from the fluid between the joints.
Well, do you want me to cut it open again?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right.
Christ.
Well, I guess we're going to call it quits.
Yeah, it's
I had some
already
other
late.
things to talk about, and I can't think what they are.
You can do it again another night. Write it down.
I
Do
was
it
going to
another
write things down, but I thought, oh, it's so obvious.
Oh, but delirium has set in.
I was watching a show the other day, and this guy had an earring in his ear, and I thought, you know what? I haven't worn my earrings in over a year, easily over a year.
It's a sign
So
of Satan.
I took a paper clip, and I punched open the holes in my ears again,
Ah!
and I put 2 earrings in on the left ear lobe, but on the right, where I punched those holes open again, there's a crust forming, and when you scrape it off, it smells like cheese.
Use one of those huge 18 gauge needles and puncture a hole in it. Those needles they gave us are terrible.
Well, okay, I guess that's about it. So, anything else?
No,
Okay.
just kind of sitting around waiting for you to get fired too.
Yep. All right, that's it. See you later.